Hi there, welcome along. You know what? Let's get straight to it. The Premier League fixtures for the new season have been announced and the opening weekend of matches have produced some belters.
Yes, they have. Perhaps the most intriguing fixtures sees champions Manchester City going to Vincent Kompany's Burnley, while Mauricio Pochettino begins life at Chelsea at home to Liverpool. Now, both of those are live on Sky Sports.
Here's the full opening weekend fixtures then. Burnley against Manchester City, Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth host West Ham, Luton begin life in the Premier League with a trip to Brighton.
Now, the opening day also sees Everton host Fulham, Sheffield United return to the Premier League at home to Crystal Palace, and Newcastle take on Aston Villa. Brentford host Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham, while Pochettino's Chelsea, of course, play Liverpool.
Here's how Manchester City begin their title defence. As mentioned, their first game is against Burnley. Then they take on Newcastle at the Etihad. Games against Sheffield United, Fulham, West Ham and Nottingham Forest follow.
What about Arsenal's then? Their first 6 games include matches against Manchester United, Everton and the North London derby against Tottenham at the Emirates.
Manchester United start their campaign against Wolves at Old Trafford. United then go to Tottenham and also have away games at Arsenal and Burnley in their first 6 matches.
What a start for Liverpool then. They go to Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea on the opening day. Their first 6 also includes matches against Aston Villa, Newcastle, Bournemouth and West Ham.
Newcastle start against Aston Villa, then face Manchester City and Liverpool. They also take on Brentford and Sheffield United in their opening 6 games.
And we'll have 5 live games for you on the opening weekend on Sky Sports for the first time in Premier League history. Burnley versus Manchester City gets things going on August the 11th. The following day, Newcastle take on Aston Villa in the Saturday night football. The first Super Sunday sees Brentford host Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham before Mauricio Pochettino's first game in charge of Chelsea against Liverpool. And then on Monday night, Manchester United against Wolves.
And as you can see, we got a mate with us.
We do.
The Premier League trophy is on set, dressed in the Manchester City coloured ribbons, of course. But who will get their hands on it next season? Will it be light blue again? All of the next season's fixtures are available right now on the Sky Sports app.
Yeah, and you can get to the app by scanning this QR code. You'll then be sent to our dedicated section revealing all the new season's matches. That's over on the Sky Sports app.
OK, I feel we need to get some reaction now, don't we? And why don't we start by heading to Luton, who will play in the Premier League for the first time, of course, and they start with a trip to Brighton. Lewis Mason can give us some reaction.
Yeah, not bad, is it? A little trip to the seaside in August for these Luton supporters. They've had a members' breakfast at Kenilworth Road this morning, and now they're all planning their trips for the season ahead. Let's catch up with Derek and Paul, who are from the Luton Supporters Trust. Gents, first reactions. Brighton away is your first trip. What do you think?
Yeah, nice trip to the south coast. A number of Luton supporters won't have been to the Amex before, so that's another new ground for people to tick off. Really excited, really buzzing. Looking forward this season so much. December looks quite horrendous, but it's a reasonable run-in for us if we're needing to fight for points. But fingers crossed, we'll be good. We're bloody a few noses in this division, and no team will like coming here.
So you've mentioned December. Let's take a little look at it. Brentford away, Arsenal and Manchester City back-to-back at home. Fancy that?
I really fancy that. I think today's really brought the Premiership dream alive, because Wembley was 3 weeks ago, but today it's become real, and you can't. 2 bigger clubs than that come into the Kenny, bring it on.
And Burnley are the first team who will be visiting Kenilworth Road, of course, but you've played them recently.
Yeah, well, we played them second game last season. We up at Turf Moor, 1-1 draw. Took the lead there, and we played them at home, lost 1-0 to a penalty. So, you know, there's not much between the two sides, and we'd be confident of turning around and getting one over them second game of the season here. Yep.
Christmas is always one to look at, so let's have a look at Boxing Day. A little trip to Sheffield United. Is that going to take in some convincing of the family that you got an away day on Boxing Day?
I'll have to convince the wife to go to Sheffield on Boxing Day, but I'm sure I'll be able to do it.
Brilliant stuff. What a season ahead. How are you feeling about what Rob Edwards and the team can do?
Yeah, I mean, what you often hear, Luton, we had this process. We planned well in advance. Rob came in, took over from Nathan, changed. He's quite modest, Rod. He did turn around here. We didn't go direct as much. We play down the channels. We high press. He plays with a higher tempo than Nathan Jones, but he also likes to have a bit of possession. So Rob gave a lot of credit to other people, but he should turn around and take a lot of credit for bringing us there, because when he joined us, we were 13th. He took us from 13th to 3rd. So he's done a terrific job, and long may it continue.
I think the reality is certainly starting to sink in for these Luton fans. They're planning their trips around the Premier League, and it will begin with a trip to Brighton on the opening day of the season.
Thanks very much, Lewis.
Clinton is still with us in the studio this morning. Clinton, then, first of all, Brighton away for Luton. That's quite a tough fixture to kick them off, isn't it?
Possibly one of the toughest fixtures ever. It's the hardest place to go, the Amex. I think the job De Zerbi's done there has been fantastic. But as the fans are saying, they're looking forward to it. They don't care who they play. Every game in the Premier League is going to be tough. There's some outstanding teams in the Premier League. But as I said earlier with Luton, go and enjoy it, the fans. You know, a trip down to Brighton. It's not a bad trip, and it's going to be good football. But they'll surprise a few people this season, Luton, for sure.
You can see the fans so excited. Yeah. Look at us. We're all getting really excited.
Yeah, we are.
What's it like for the players? Did you all get together and have like a viewing party, watch Sky Sports News when the fixtures come out?
Yeah, I think if Clinton's
Such a lie.
I think if Clinton's on, they watch it. But no, not really. Usually on holiday. But some of them are still playing international football.
Will they be like WhatsApping each other? Will they be talking
probably
about it?
Not. They'll be talking about it to see who they are. When you look at the likes of Man United, you're thinking, when is the Liverpool game going to come out? And, you know, when's the Man City game going to come out? So they will be talking about it. And Luton, they'll be looking at Luton, definitely players that have just gone into the Premier League, that have never played in the Premier League, be looking and going, well, they'll probably support a few of the big teams. When am I going to Old Trafford? When am I going to the Etihad? So it is an exciting time. But most of them are on holiday at the moment. Yeah. This has just come around so quickly, hasn't it? I look forward to it. When the Premier League, can it start next week?
Yeah.
No, really.
Okay, well, you need to go on holiday.
I am. We're back next week.
You want to start next week.
Yeah, exactly. And next week. Yeah.
Here's a reminder then of the opening Premier League fixtures. Right, which one of these takes your fancy the most? Which one?
It's obvious, isn't it? Sheffield United, Crystal Palace. No, listen, it's my old team, Palace, and obviously it's a difficult game going to Sheffield United. There's some big ones. Burnley, Man City is a brilliant one. I think Pep going...
the story's there, isn't it?
That's a story. But the one it stands out, it's obvious, it's Chelsea-Liverpool. That's a huge football match, and both teams need to start well this season. In particular, Chelsea, because it didn't end well for Chelsea. It was disappointing last season, but new manager Pochettino, and I think Poch will go in there and do a fantastic job. He'll trim the squad, he'll bring the players that he wants in, and I think Chelsea will have a good season next season.
Hope you're right.
Yeah,
I know you do. I know.
Don't go anywhere, Clinton. There's plenty more coming from you. A new era for Luton and a new era for Chelsea. Mauricio Pochettino in charge there, of course. As we just mentioned, we can now cross live to Stamford Bridge for a reaction with reporter Jeremy Langdon. And it's a tough start for Chelsea. Liverpool at home. Jeremy.
Absolutely, yeah. Chelsea fans looking for lift-off with Poch after a terrible season last season. I've got Alex Harris here from Chelsea Fan TV. And these first 6 Chelsea fixtures, Alex, Liverpool at home, the first one is an epic opening game, isn't it? And then West Ham away, then Luton at home, the newly promoted Luton coming to the Bridge, third game. And then Forest at home, it's Bournemouth away. And to round out the top 6, we have Villa at home. Alex, what do you make of that? And Liverpool to start.
Look, it's not the game we were hoping for. I think it would have been a little bit nicer to have maybe a newly promoted side like Luton in the first game, but atmosphere is going to be great, isn't it? We've got 2 teams who underperformed, Liverpool not quite as much as us, but that's more reason for us to be up for it. And with Pochettino coming in, I can see us getting a result. There's going to be lots of energy, a lot of passion, but at the end of the day, there's only one thing we care about, and that's the result.
What about winning the first 6?
I think it's realistic. Look, as long as we beat Liverpool in that first game, the only other game that we should be struggling with is Bournemouth away, because that's one of our bogey teams. We talk about Aston Villa. I know they've regained some form under Emery, but they don't have the resources that we have. And once you've had such a bad season, you have to bounce back. And Poch is going to be under so much pressure, especially since he's a former Spurs man. So, look, I think the fans are going to back him. I think we're all a little bit reluctant at first. But if you get the results, as we've seen in the past, we will continue to support as loud and proud as ever.
So let's look at those 2 games with Spurs, because they take on added resonance, don't they, this season? The first one is the 4th of November. It's Tottenham away for Chelsea. That is the 11th game of Chelsea's season. And then Tottenham come to the Bridge in February, the 24th of February.
Yeah.
Is the Spurs fixture now even more of a grudge match with the Poch factor?
100%. And I think Spurs fans, I've got to say it, you've got to hold it. Because if he really cared about Spurs, he wouldn't come to Chelsea. So the reality is, he doesn't care about them. And, he can say whatever he wants. He came here to win. And you can never do that at Tottenham. That's why you come to a big club like Chelsea to win. Of course, there's going to be a bit of extra passion and fire in that derby. But is it really a derby? Is it? We win most of the time anyway. They had their best results against us with Poch. Now Poch is with us. I can't see them getting anything out of those games. But most importantly, I think we're going to dominate as well. And winning those big games is going to help, but it's the smaller games where we need to pick up the points as well, because we need to be consistent throughout the whole season.
Last season was a disaster. You were 12th. You were the 6th ranked team in London. Does Pochettino make you top 4 contenders again, or will it be another season where you could be mid-table?
We have to get in the top floor. This isn't even a conversation. Fans who don't believe that we can get into the Champions League, I don't understand that logic. We have no European football whatsoever. If we were in the Conference League or the Europa League even, I'd be like, fair enough. Okay, I can completely understand. Maybe it takes an extra season to build. We've got more congestion. Players might get injured. We will have much larger breaks, and players, we're going to obviously clear out the squad, but players should be given a consistent run of form as well, which we never had last season. So I'm very confident that we can get in the top 4. And look, I'm not saying we're going to push for the title, but if other teams drop points, as I said, we haven't got the congestion that they have, so we've certainly got an advantage.
Alex, thanks so much for your time. Let's hope it's a better season for you. And what a start for Chelsea. It's Liverpool here, the first match of the season on the Sunday at 4:30. What a weekend and an opening game that is for Chelsea fans.
It certainly is. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Right, coming up next, we'll take a look at the Boxing Day fixtures, and here's a little teaser for you to think about in the break. Which player has scored the most goals on Boxing Day in Premier League history? All will be revealed next.
Discrimination. Let's kick it out.
Welcome back. Before the break, we asked you who scored the most goals on Boxing Day in Premier League history. I think the silhouette might have given it away, but the answer is, of course, Harry Kane. 10 goals on Boxing Day. Yeah. It's a lot.
Erling Haaland will be there in another Boxing Day. And here are the Premier League fixtures on Boxing Day. Then Arsenal host West Ham. Bournemouth against Fulham. Brentford play Wolves. It's Brighton against Tottenham. Burnley hosts Liverpool, while Chelsea play Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge. Everton face champions Manchester City. Unai Emery's Aston Villa go to Manchester United. Newcastle play Nottingham Forest, and Sheffield United take on Luton.
That's on Boxing Day. What about the final day games then? Arsenal end their campaign at home to Everton. Brentford host Newcastle. Brighton take on Manchester United, whilst Burnley play Nottingham Forest. Chelsea host Bournemouth. Crystal Palace play Aston Villa. Liverpool host Wolves, and Luton play Fulham. Manchester City end against West Ham, while Sheffield United host Tottenham.
Let's run you through some more of the team's opening 6 games. Brighton qualified for Europe for the first time in their history last season. They start this campaign against Luton before games against Wolves, West Ham, Newcastle, Manchester United and Bournemouth.
Aston Villa are back in Europe and they face Champions League-bound Newcastle up first. That should be a good one. Then Unai Emery's side take on Everton, Burnley, Liverpool, Crystal Palace and then Chelsea.
Europa Conference League champions West Ham start their season away at Bournemouth. That will then be followed up with games against Chelsea, Brighton, Luton, Manchester City and Liverpool. Tough start.
Yeah, Fulham start their season with games against Everton and Brentford. Then it's 2 difficult away trips to Arsenal and then Manchester City.
Crystal Palace will look to get their season underway away at Sheffield United. Then it's Arsenal, Brentford, Wolves, Aston Villa and Fulham.
Right then, let's speak with Clinton Morrison about Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham and then Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea. Brentford away. It's quite a tough start for Ange Postecoglou, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very tough start, to be fair. Brentford's a hard place to go. You ask any Premier League team to go to Brentford to try and get a result at Brentford. I think the job Thomas Frank done there has been fantastic. So it's a difficult start, but I think he's a good manager. The job he's done at Celtic. I know a lot of people a bit critical of him going to Tottenham and some of the fans were disappointed, but you got to give him a chance. I know Celtic's, they always say up in Scotland it's only between Celtic and Rangers, but you still have to go up there and do the job. He's done the job. So, yeah, I think positive signs for Tottenham this season.
Do you think his appointment will be enough to encourage Harry Kane to stay?
I just think, yeah, it's a difficult one. His appointment, yeah, but I just think Daniel Levy is just a hard taskmaster, and he won't let Harry Kane go unless he gets the right amount of money. And obviously, I think Harry Kane must have something like maybe a couple of years left, so I think they'll let that run down to a year, and then he'll probably move at the end of next season. So it's going to be difficult. And listen, I've always said it many a times, Harry Kane, you've got to give him the chance now to go and win trophies. I think he's been a great servant at that football club, and I love Tottenham to bits, but I think the time is for him to move on. But I don't think he'll move now in that window because I think Man United are taking their time at the moment, so I think he'll stay at Tottenham.
Yeah. All right, from a current Tottenham manager in Ange Postecoglou to a former one in Mauricio Pochettino. That Liverpool at home fixture is quite difficult, but after that, they've got quite a nice run of games in the opening 6, haven't they?
No, they have. But to be fair, Chelsea have to do better. I think Chelsea fans are really happy and optimistic with that appointment of Pochettino because it was so difficult when Frank came in at the back end of the season. It was a difficult season for them. But I think Chelsea will be good. I think Chelsea will be good next season. They just need to get a number 9. If that's Romelu Lukaku coming back, if it's not Romelu Lukaku, they have to bring a number 9 in to score goals because I think if you look all over the pitch, I think they've got quality in that squad, but the players will leave and players will have to come back in. But I think Pochettino's the right man to get Chelsea challenging again.
No Europe, of course, for Chelsea.
So it's easy.
And the last time that happened, Chelsea won the Premier League.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying they will, but
Liv was telling us during the break, wasn't she? No. But yeah, you're right.
It is an advantage.
No, yeah, because they can concentrate. They don't have to play like on a Saturday, Tuesday, or if you're in the Europa League, Saturday, Thursday. So yeah, they can concentrate solely on trying to win the Premier League. It's going to be difficult. I can't look past Man City just because the way Man City are at the moment, they're just relentless. As soon as they won the Champions League, he said, "I'm already thinking about next season." That's crazy. But as I said, I think Chelsea have got a great chance of finishing in the top 4 this season.
You mentioned, obviously, the players that Chelsea need to sell and sign. We've obviously Mason Mount's been linked away, Kai Havertz's been linked away, Mateo Kovacic has been linked away. You mentioned a striker, but also is midfield an option that Chelsea need to strengthen in going into this season?
Definitely, because N'Golo Kante as well. N'Golo Kante and Kovacic are for me, were two of Chelsea's best players alongside Mason Mount. And you've probably lost 3 players that can play in that kind of position. Yeah. So it's going to be difficult. And I think that's where they'll be looking to strengthen straight away. It's a good point you make, because you realise they are key players. Because Kovacic, for me, is an outstanding football. And N'Golo Kante, still at his age, is one of the best midfielders around. So they're going to have to bring in replacements for those players, because they are going to miss them.
What's your gut feeling then? Who are going to be the biggest threats for Manchester City? Will Chelsea and Spurs be amongst them?
See, it's difficult. I'm not sure about Tottenham. And that's even with my Tottenham hat on. They would need to sign at least 6 or 7 players to be able to challenge Man City. You look at Arsenal, I think it's going to be difficult for Arsenal, but I think if Arsenal get their recruitment right like they did last season, I think they could challenge. I think the manager, Mikel Arteta, has done a brilliant job. The squad of players they've got there, Saka signing a new deal. If they can get Declan Rice or Caicedo into that football club, they've got a great opportunity. Don't write out Chelsea, and don't write off Liverpool. Never write off Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp. I think he's brilliant. And I'm even going to throw another name into it, and people might laugh, Newcastle. I think if they can have a great transfer window, they've got a great chance.
Do you think that, though, even if they do have a great transfer window, that their Champions League run, them being in all those competitions, may have a negative effect on their league?
Yeah, I know it, and it's a good point you make. But when you're winning football matches, though, Liv, the confidence will be flowing through that group of players. And I think Newcastle, they get off to a good start and they do well in the Champions League. And it all depends what they do in the transfer window. If they can buy 4 or 5 and strengthen it and take it to another level, I think Newcastle got a really good chance. And their fans will be believing. But it's going to be difficult. I can't look past Man City. I can never look past Man City. They're a fantastic football club. But don't win it by Christmas, Man City, please. Let it go right down to the wire.
We want a title race, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. It will be a title.
We're due one. We're due like a cracker.
Yeah,
we are due one. Last day.
Aguero moment.
Yeah, last day with 3 or 4 teams left in it. That was happening.
Can you imagine? It goes down to 4 teams on the final day. We can only dream.
Well, if it does happen, we're going to bring it back.
We'll make it happy,
by the way. Let's look at some more of the team's opening fixtures now. Brentford will play first Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. After that, it's Fulham, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Newcastle and Everton.
Wolves will be the first team to play at Old Trafford. That's followed up by games against Brighton, Everton, Crystal Palace, Liverpool and Luton.
Bournemouth have one of the trickiest starts to the season. Their first 6 includes West Ham, Liverpool, Tottenham, Brentford, Chelsea and Brighton.
A tough start for Forest as well. They'll have to play Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea and Manchester City in their first 6 games.
Yeah, that is tough. Everton avoided relegation on the final day of last season. They'll look to ease concerns early on with an opening run of Fulham, Aston Villa, Wolves, Sheffield United, Arsenal and Brentford.
And this is what the teams will be fighting for. And a reminder that all of the club's fixtures are now on the Sky Sports app. And coming next, we'll be speaking live to Sheffield United manager Paul Heckingbottom. Welcome back. Let's remind you of what's to come on some of the key dates in the Premier League calendar then. To kick off the season, treble-winning Manchester City travel to Vincent Kompany's Burnley. Arsenal start against Nottingham Forest. Playoff winners Luton face an away trip to Brighton, while fellow promoted side Sheffield United host Crystal Palace. And Mauricio Pochettino's first game in charge of Chelsea, it's a big one, against Liverpool. Now, on Boxing Day, Arsenal take on West Ham. Tottenham will face a trip to Brighton. Manchester City will be away at Everton, whilst Manchester United host Aston Villa. And on the final day of the season, the 19th of May, Arsenal will finish their campaign against Everton. Manchester City will be at the Etihad against West Ham. Liverpool play Wolves in a repeat of the final day from 2 seasons ago. Brentford's game against Newcastle and Brighton against Manchester United could all carry European consequences come the end of the season. And you can get to the app by scanning this QR code. You'll then be sent to our dedicated section revealing all the new season's matches. That's over on the Sky Sports app.
Right, so a new era for Tottenham this season with Ange Postecoglou as manager. For a reaction to their fixtures, we can cross live to our reporter, Michael Bridge. Michael, take it away, mate.
Oh, I love fixture release day. I mean, what do fans do first? This is what I usually do. First 3 games, look at the Christmas games, last game of the season, and your derby games. I'm outside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so Chris Cowlin, Tottenham Hotspur podcast host and YouTuber. Arsenal, you always look at Arsenal first, Chris?
Always look at Arsenal, of course. We always want to see Arsenal here, and we always want to beat our North London rivals. And we always want to beat them away as well, and we haven't done that too much since the Premier League started, only once at the Emirates. So we want to be getting results at places like that.
Although I know Spurs-Arsenal is the biggie. Spurs have a huge rivalry of Chelsea as well. And Mauricio Pochettino returning here in November. What an atmosphere that's going to be.
4th of November here, that is going to be unbelievable. I don't know what sort of reception Pochettino's going to get. I expect some fans will applaud him. Some fans will be very unhappy that he's gone to our rivals Chelsea. But of course, these are games, big games that you've got to win. But it starts with Brentford away, which is going to be very, very difficult. And let's face it, all of these Premier League fixtures, both home and away, are very difficult.
Interesting to see who's in goal for that as well with Spurs. But, I mean, looking at the first few games for Ange Postecoglou, a real glamour game as well. First home game against Manchester United.
Absolutely. It's going to be a massive game. I'm sure that will be a packed-out stadium. Fans will probably be singing his name at that point. And it's all about the crowd getting behind our new manager, give him a huge welcome, and hopefully we can get off to a couple of good wins. And that first game, as you mentioned, David Raya, he could be going back to his old club. So hopefully we get that one over the line.
Yeah, I mean, that's a player Spurs are certainly interesting. Look, what is a good season for Spurs this year, Chris? Because it's going to be so tough. We talk about the top 4, the big 6, the top 6. It's not easy.
This is a major rebuild. I think the aim now is to get back into a European spot. Of course, we're not going to have any European football here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium next season. First time in 13 years. It's going to be very difficult and weird for a lot of us. But get back into Europe. And I think the ultimate goal is to try and put a trophy in the cabinet. I know that Postecoglou at Celtic and other clubs, he's always taken cup competitions very seriously. So I would love to see him go all out to try and win an FA Cup or a League Cup, because I want to see this bus parading down here with the likes of Harry Kane lifting a trophy.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Ange Postecoglou's come from Celtic. He's won so many trophies there. Obviously, the old firm is one of the greatest rivalries in world football. But I remember Gary Neville saying when Spurs played Arsenal here, when Spurs won 3-0, that was one of the greatest atmospheres he's ever felt. What's he going to feel like here? And how's he going to feel when he sees Spurs come out against Arsenal?
It's going to be unbelievable. I've got goosebumps you even talking about the North London derby. It's one of those games where you just want to win. It don't matter how you win, you just have to win. But the atmosphere in games like that, Postecoglou will feel it, and he's used to playing big games like that. Like the Rangers Celtic games. So he'll know how to prepare for it, and he'll know what it means to the fans.
Let's go back to the Chelsea game. I'm really intrigued about Mauricio Pochettino. You look a bit like him, actually. But, I mean, in terms of that game, I mean, Spurs fans were singing his name for quite a few games last season. Do you reckon he'll get booed when he comes out?
I think the feeling will be very mixed. I think the atmosphere will be very mixed. Of course, he's done great things for this football club. He didn't quite get us over the line. I think a lot of fans feel and felt that he probably needed another chance. Yes, fans were singing his name only a couple of months ago. But when you make that switch to a rival like Chelsea, the line is drawn now. He's a Chelsea manager. We care about our results and what we're doing.
Finally, is it imperative for Spurs fans to be patient? Even at Celtic, it took a few games, a few weeks for Ange Postecoglou because they made so many changes. Is it all about just giving him time? At the end of the day, it's a 4-year contract.
Yeah. I'm so pleased it's a 4-year contract. He does need time and patience, but a major rebuild, needs to be done here. This summer is so important. We've got 2.5 months of the transfer window now. I'm sure there'll be lots of speculation, but we need to act early. We don't have a director of football in yet, so hopefully one will be appointed. Scott Munn will be starting work on the 1st of July. There is a lot to do. 11 loan players coming back. I'm sure Postecoglou will assess them. It'll be interesting to see who gets on the plane in 2 weeks' time. When we go to, 4 weeks' time when we go to Australia for pre-season. So interesting, but he's got a big job on his hands.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. Yes, a huge job for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur, but the fixtures are out, Spurs fans. It's Brentford away on Super Sunday, the opening game. The Arsenal game will be coming up, and Mauricio Pochettino comes back here. Oh my goodness me, what an atmosphere that's going to be in November.
You know what, Bridgie, you're right. Chris does look a bit like Mauricio Pochettino. Good spot, mate. Thank you very much.
Don't say that to him. Reggie, of all people. Tell him he's right. He'll love it now. He'll have a big smile on his face all day.
Make people happy.
Yeah, I know. I like it.
Listen, we're going to speak to Paul Heckingbottom fairly soon, hopefully, Sheffield United manager, which is going to be great. But before that, I just want to talk a bit about Man City and Arsenal and potential run-ins that we could have. Yeah. Man City, for a start, I mean, can you only see them getting stronger and stronger, having done what they've done this season?
Oh, definitely. Listen, I think last season was the best opportunity for Arsenal to win the Premier League because Man City weren't at the races, and even Pep said it. They had a lot of blips and they had a lot of players that were out through injury, and it didn't kick on towards the end of the season, but that showed the sign of pure quality that they have and champions. And as they said after they won the Champions League, it's time to go again, and they will go again. They might lose a couple of players, but they'll bring quality into that. But that squad's fantastic anyway, so it's going to be difficult. Everyone will make Man City favourites, but you just never know. It's the Premier League.
We can have a look then at City's last 6 fixtures. But really, with Manchester City, does it even matter who their last 6 fixtures are? Because at that stage of the season, they just always seem to get going at just the right time. But I suppose looking at that on paper, it's a pretty nice last 6 fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a nice one. And listen, that's not being disrespectful to the teams that they'll be playing against. But when it's Man City and they are cooking at this time of the season, as you said, the end of last season, they were flying, and you look at it and you just think to yourself, yeah, you would like them run of fixtures, to be fair. And they're an outstanding team. And huge credit must go to the man that was in the picture, Pep Guardiola, and you can see it there. They've won it the last three in a row. It's fantastic. And would it surprise you if they went and made it 4 in a row?
Or 5 or 6
or
6.
7. They're a machine at the moment.
For as long as Pep Guardiola's there.
As long as Pep's there, yeah, because he always wants to take it to a different level. And I think there was a moment during last season where he said, do these players still want it as much? And they were just kicked on and went to a different level. So I think he's fantastic.
Right, well, I mentioned Paul Heckingbottom, and Sheffield United are back in the Premier League after winning automatic promotion from the Championship.
Yeah, we can now cross live to Sheffield United's training ground and speak to their manager, Paul Heckingbottom. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, congratulations, obviously, on being back in the Premier League. First game at home to Palace. You happy with that?
Yeah, we are. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're happy. A home game. I think it's always important. And we're happy with Palace at home, no matter who we face. We're just happy with that home game, and I think it's the day of the season where the excitement begins. We had the transfer window open yesterday. That's a big marker, and then when the fixtures come out as well, I think it's another big marker and something for everyone to get excited about.
Yeah, Paul, it's Clinton there again. Congratulations. You're obviously back in the Premier League. All right, mate, you've done a fantastic job. But let's be honest, Palace is going to be tough, mate, my old team. With all them exciting players like Elise, Eze, Zaha. How are you going to stop those 3, mate?
You wouldn't be saying anything different. I expect that. I hope you're not doing the commentary on the game if it is live.
Paul, it's not just the first game, though, is it? I mean, after that, you've got Nottingham Forest, Manchester City, Everton, Tottenham, Newcastle. It's a tough start.
Yeah, listen, I don't think there's any easy games. You hear that said all the time, but you just have to look at the season last season, and so many teams outperformed what the expectations were. So many of the big clubs will want to do better this season. So we're pleased to be in it. We're pleased to be in the mix. We've worked so hard to get back there, off the pitch, on the pitch. And to see the fixtures come out, to look at the stadiums you're going to be playing at, to know the calibre of player who's going to be coming to Bramall Lane. Because don't forget as well, the last time when Sheffield United went down, it was in front of no fans as well, and that was a bit of a strange time. So for us to be back in the mix and in the middle of all excitement, home and away, the fans, the atmosphere, yeah, it's what we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. What about your preparations for the new season then, Paul? When does your pre-season begin?
Yeah, we've got a lot of players away on international duty, which a lot of clubs have, which makes it a little bit different for the players and their individual programmes over the summer, which they'll all be into now. And then we sort of have a staggered return with the majority of the players coming back on the 3rd of July. And then after that, they'll be dripping in ones and twos, really, until we get everybody back.
Well, the transfer window's just opened. Any incomings or outgoings you can tell us about?
Not that I can tell you about. I'd love there to be. That's why you caught me in work today. I think that's the thing. Everybody thinks the season's done. You're off on your holidays now. But this is the toughest bit. I think for me, the hardest bit, but arguably the most important. So yeah, we did well last year at this time of season, and it set us up really well. I think it's going to be more difficult this season. We've gone up another level. The calibre of player we want to attract. But arguably we probably can't attract the ready-made Premier League players, so we're going to have to be really good and clever in the recruitment and unearth some talent, some players with potential that can go and cope with the level that we're playing at.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, I know you'll be looking forward to every game in the Premier League, but is there one fixture you've got your eye on? Is there one fixture you looked out for?
Well, all of them. I think, just from me, a personal point of view, and you probably can't believe I've still never been to Anfield, either as a player, a coach, to watch a game. So I think that's the only stadium I've not been to in the country. So that'll be one for me. But apart from that, no, just to be back involved. I think this club deserves to be here. It's been a hard fight, a real hard fight to get back, and we're determined to enjoy it.
So as you stand here right now, what are the targets then for this upcoming season?
Well, I think first and foremost, rather than thinking about where we want to finish in the league, it's about doing our work now. Every day is important, every minute of every day in where we stand now to make sure we work as hard as we can to get as competitive a squad as we can. And then that'll just go into the season, every game, every minute of every game, scrap for every point. And then ultimately the aim is to try and stay in the Premier League, we know that. But we've also got things where we fought really hard off the pitch to stave off any trouble. So we need to make sure that we're conscious of that, and building the club away from the pitch is just as important. So as I'd hate the troubles went through last year, I'd hate for those to be back and for anyone to face those again. So remaining in the Premier League is important, but all things properly and trying to build the club is equally important.
And Paul, what will the club have learned from that stint in the Premier League a couple of years ago? Will that stand you in good stead? You'll have a lot of players, of course, who played in that side.
Yeah, and they're all determined to have another crack at it, which is good, and we want to tap into that. Like I said, I think COVID affected clubs in different ways, and I think Sheffield United was certainly one of those clubs that suffered without the fans. The atmosphere at Bramall Lane definitely suffered, and it was a strange time, strange atmosphere. So there's a lot of people looking forward to getting back there and getting in front of the fans, and we're no different. So we certainly want that. We're certainly looking forward to getting that atmosphere back. And also the younger boys who've not been there, the excitement, the enthusiasm. We want to make sure that excitement's reflected in the performances, and we just attack every game. And the tough thing is, we know some games our best might not be good enough, so it's making sure we put good context on the results as well and the performances, and it's always got to be about us and how we perform. And I'm sure if we get more right than wrong, then it'll be good enough.
Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking time out of your day to speak to us.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Right, coming next, we'll be back live to Luton as we speak to their chief executive about the club preparing for life in the Premier League.
Together, we can change it.
Welcome back. Luton will be playing Premier League football for the first time in their history next season, and they play Brighton up first. We can now cross live to our reporter Lewis Mason, who's with their CEO, Gary Sweet. Lewis.
Yes, morning. It's a really nice trip to the seaside for Luton to kick off their Premier League campaign. Of course, just less than 3 weeks ago, that big day at Wembley in the Championship playoff final, and then lots of attention turned to today to find out who they'll be playing and when. Let's talk to Chief Executive Gary Sweet. Gary, good morning. What a fantastically exciting day for Luton Town. How did you see that fixture list?
Relatively kind, I think, actually. It could have been much worse. I mean, I was at the conference down in Hampshire with other Premier League clubs, and other clubs were telling me about their nightmare for first 3 or 4 fixtures when they started the campaign for the first time. So we're really delighted with that.
We've just been reliably informed. You've got a 100% record against Brighton in the top flight. 2 wins in the 80s, I believe. So, hey, you take anything, right?
You never know, and we've beaten them in the Johnson's Paint Trophy semi-final, I think is the last thing I remember about. But no, it's great to go to Brighton, give the fans a great day out of the sunshine, hopefully, and they'll enjoy it. But yeah, it's a friendly club, Brighton. We were with them this weekend, during this week, and so really looking forward to that opener.
Almost a great club to look up to as well with what they have done. Of course, they're about to get ready for European football.
Yeah, fantastic model. Just the way they run the business, but also the stadium development that they've done and everything, and the way they've transformed the town and the city actually has been terrific, and is an example to us. I mean, clearly we will need to do things very differently. We want to do things very differently here, but we've got to look at examples like Brighton and Brentford and what they've delivered.
And Burnley will be first at Kenilworth Road. Of course, you played them here last season, but the atmosphere may well be a bit different and maybe a bit more special this time around.
Yeah, slightly. And actually, Vincent quite likes coming here. Actually, he told us he likes this place. He might be one of the few. So yeah, we're good friends with Burnley again. I mean, having travelled through Championship with them last season and everything, and seen what excellent progress they've made as well on their bounce back. It's another one to look forward to, and yeah, so it's 2 fixtures that you'd look at and be happy with.
Lots of work got underway straight away after Wembley. How are things going? Of course, lots of work going on with the stadium.
Yeah, I think we're about an hour in front of schedule. Probably we're measuring it to those levels at the moment. There's a lot of work to do here, you know, and the progress is magnificent. You know, everybody's pulled together. All the teams that we brought in, the contractors and everything, are working terrifically for us. A lot of them are Luton fans as well, so they know how important it is. So I thank them for that. But you know, I do wake up and then come into work, and then I see the views over there, and I feel a little bit nervous about everything. So I really can't wait until it starts going up rather than being broken down. But it's going to be, we'll do the league proud with it.
So we're looking about a 2 o'clock finish before that Burnley game.
Yeah, 2:30, something like that. Yeah. Actually, you know, we do plan to finish a few days before, because we need to do some testing, etc. So fingers crossed, we'll be fine.
In terms of on the field, Rob Edwards and his team, they're going to be back to work pretty quickly to get ready for this campaign.
Yeah, we have got a lot to do, haven't we? so with the window opening this week as well, we're obviously doing an awful lot of work in terms of our recruitment. We do a lot of diligence on our recruitment. So that's going beavering away underneath, and so we'll start soon to be active, I think, on that, and that's when it starts to get even more real.
And obviously so much to do, but have you had a chance to just enjoy it and enjoy what's happening right now?
Chance to sit back and enjoy it? No, but I am enjoying it. I mean, we love being busy here. We love being active. So we love a bit of pressure. It's what drives us on. Actually, is how we're ambitious about our lives and about our club. So everybody's a bit tired, but actually there's a lot of adrenaline going around these days, and so we're ploughing through very, very nicely and enjoying it while we're doing it.
Gary, lovely to talk to you. Get back to work. Come on. We need a much smoother finish. We need more than an hour before that Burnley game. But of course, Luton, they now know they start their Premier League campaign away at Brighton.
Thank you very much, Lewis. An exciting game for Luton, that, isn't it?
Yeah, tough game as well.
Very tough game.
Clinton, we've just got a couple of minutes, mate. We've got time for a bit of quick fire questions for you. I know you love them. Okay. Right, let's go straight in. Premier League winner.
Man City.
Obviously, that was the easiest one.
Yeah, it was obviously.
I feel like there's no point doing this one either. But top goal scorer?
Yeah, Haaland. But
can we get like a rogue shout as well?
Yeah, well, Harry Kane. That's a rogue shout.
That's not rogue.
Why?
Because Harry Kane scores like 30 goals a season.
Harry Kane is not rogue.
Who do you?
Someone a bit obscure. No?
Callum Wilson. Then.
Okay. Well,
Yeah?
decent. If he stays fit.
If he stays fit, yeah.
Right, now we get to the tougher ones. Top 4.
Oh, well, that's tough. I am. Oh,
Well, you know
all
one
right.
of them.
Yeah, Man City,
Yeah.
Arsenal, Man United.
Ooh, Chelsea or Liverpool? Unless it's going to be Spurs.
Oh, I haven't put Newcastle in it. No, I don't know. And Liverpool. But I'm wrong. I could be wrong. So don't be shouting at me at home, everyone.
Clip that up for later. Just clip that up for later. You know. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Newcastle are in that as well.
That's the top 5 then.
Yeah, I'll pick 5.
Okay,
They'll be level.
Okay, what about surprise package then?
Oh, that is a good... I have to go for it again. I'd probably say surprise package will be Aston Villa again. Aston Villa or Brighton, I would say. Aston Villa or Brighton. I just think they're like... Brighton surprised it last season.
Even with Europe, even with both of those teams in Europe next season, their squads aren't huge.
Surprise package.
No, you can have them. I'm just asking.
No, I'm going to think something. Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, my old team surprise package.
There we go.
We keep Wilfred Zaha and we kick on next season.
Okay. And how about one more? What's going to be... Give us one big transfer move that's going to be a shock. It's going to surprise everyone. Someone's going to move somewhere.
Oh, what? A surprise?
Yeah, well, just a big one. A big one.
Well, obviously, a big one will be Declan Rice, I think, to Arsenal.
And you think that's going to happen?
I think that will happen. I think if Arsenal want to win the Premier League, you have to go and get Declan Rice because he's outstanding midfielder, to be fair. So I think that...
Is that enough in the midfield for Arsenal, just Declan Rice?
Well, they probably need to strengthen. But they could go get Caicedo as well. If they get... I think Declan Rice and Caicedo, imagine Arsenal get them two. They definitely are in this title race. But that's why we look forward to it.
I can imagine it.
What do you... Chelsea, maybe Chelsea...
Top 4.
Top 4?
I think so.
And what outstanding signing?
Chelsea are going to make?
Yeah.
I think Chelsea will get Caicedo.
There you go.
Don't count it on that.
Inside knowledge.
We've got to get to our
inside knowledge whatsoever.
Go and finish your summer holiday.
I will, and I will
Come back
next
in
week.
a few weeks'
No
time.
worries.
You can get to the Sky Sports app by scanning this QR code. You'll then be sent to our dedicated section, and that will show you all of the season's matches. That's on the Sky Sports app.
We'll bring you the EFL fixtures announcement on June the 22nd, which will also include the draw for the first round of the EFL Cup and EFL Trophy as well.
Plus, on June the 30th, about a week after that, we'll find out the Scottish fixtures for the new season. We'll have another dedicated programme on that day.
So much to look forward to, and there's also this to get excited about today. We'll bring you Jude Bellingham's presentation live from 11 a.m, plus his first news conference as a Real Madrid player as well.
Coming up next, we get reaction from Burnley as they begin life back in the Premier League against Manchester City. All of that coming next.